What's up, Adorama fans? Cooper Naitove here again, and today we're going to do a quick overview of the new camera in Fuji's X-E line, the X-E4. Right off the bat, one of my favorite things about this camera is the way that it looks. It has that classic rangefinder style with the sharp edges and metal construction. It really feels solid and it really feels like something that'll last you a long time. Even though it's a digital camera, everything about this camera screams analog. From the shutter speed dial on top to exposure compensation to the aperture ring, it all just has that vintage rangefinder feel. For this test, I used Fuji's 23mm f2. And on this camera with a 1.5 crop factor comes out to around 35. And I think most people are going to use this camera for street photography, so I figured that was a perfect lens to try it out. This lens was great in the test. It exhibited basically zero vignetting and just felt like it was really made for this camera. As great as this camera looks in its stock form, I found it a little too slim for my hands, so in this test I've used the optional thumb grip and hand grip. With these two things combined, it gives the camera a really solid feel and I'd have no problem operating with one hand. What it's also made easier is operating the front control wheel. This little wheel on the front here is great. In its stock setup, it lets you change the shutter speed in incremental settings that you wouldn't be able to find on the top dial up here, but you can also set it to be whatever you want. Don't let the classic rangefinder looks fool you though. This is still a digital camera and packs the same 26 megapixel sensor as the larger X-T4 and has the same X-mount lens mount. In case you're upgrading from another Fuji body or just using this as a second camera, this camera uses the same NPW126 batteries as several of Fuji's other cameras. One of the things I love about this camera is the side-mounted viewfinder. It's so much more ergonomic than the center-mounted one, and I think I'm really going to miss it when I go back to my own mirrorless camera. In the back of the camera is a high-resolution touchscreen monitor that you can even flip forwards if you're trying to take a selfie. Reviewing images on an X-E4 is so intuitive and will be very familiar to any smartphone user. Just scroll and pinch to zoom. While we're talking about the touchscreen, I just wanted to mention one of the only problems I had with this camera, and it's the fact that from the factory, it's set up for the touchscreen to actually take images when you click it. This was really annoying for me because I was constantly recording video clips or taking photos that I didn't mean to record. One of my favorite things about Fuji cameras are the included film simulation modes. Rather than shoot raw and edit at home, I'll just pick something I like in camera, use Fuji's app to send it straight to my phone, and then upload to social media. It takes so much time out of the whole process and makes me way more likely to actually post something. One of the most important factors when buying a digital camera is its ISO performance. This camera goes all the way up to 51,200, but anything over 12,000 I found to be a little bit too grainy for my tastes. In its mechanical shutter mode, the X-E4 is capable of 8 frames a second, and honestly, I think that's plenty for what this camera is really going to be used for. If you really need more frames a second though, and can handle a little bit of a crop, you can put it in electronic shutter mode and it'll go all the way up to 30 frames a second. Fuji has built in a couple trick imaging modes to the X-E4. There's HDR, double exposure, and panorama. I found the most useful one to be HDR though when dealing in backlit situations. I'm not sure I'd use an image straight out of the camera like that, but it gives you all the information you need to tune it in post. When I'm just shooting photos for fun, I don't always want to shoot raw, because that means by the time I get home, download the images, and edit them, I kind of get bored of the whole thing and the photos will probably just live on my computer forever. With this Fuji though, you can process raw files in camera and send the JPEG straight to your phone using the Fuji app. It's super quick, super easy, and I'm way more likely to actually do something with my images. While I don't necessarily think this will be a go-to camera for most video shooters, I think it'll make a great second camera for somebody already in the Fuji ecosystem. The X-E4 shoots full 4K video at up to 29:9:7 and will do 1080p all the way up to 240 frames a second, all at an impressive 200 megabits a second. Because this camera actually can shoot with timecode, it makes a great second camera when doing a multicam clip on set. The X-E4 will also shoot Fuji's proprietary F-Log. This is a flat profile and will make it perfect for color correcting and matching to any other Fuji camera. Included with the package, the X-E4 also comes with a USB to headphone adapter so you can monitor audio on set. As a working photographer and making videos like this, I'm one of the first people my friends normally come to when they're looking to buy a camera. It usually goes a little something like, "Hey Cooper, I'm tired of using my iPhone to take pictures. What should I buy?" What they don't understand is that's a little too vague because there's not just one tool or one best camera for everything. I need to know what you want to shoot, what's your budget, and really, what do you want in a camera? Each job, each activity, all has their own perfect camera. I would recommend the X-E4 to someone who loves street photography, really likes the vintage look and feel of this camera, and overall doesn't want to spend a ton of money. It gives you about the same form factor as the X100, but gives you the option of changing lenses, which I think is really useful. That's been a quick overview of Fuji's new X-E4. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Have a good one.